Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm making a video that was actually the second option on my poll that I did on my community page. The first option was the video I uploaded last week, which is movies to watch during this quarantine that are feel good and that will make you happy. But today we're taking it a different direction and we're gonna talk about the weirdest movies that I've seen. Weird movies. What is a weird movie? I feel like a weird movie is not necessarily the same for everybody. For me, it's more like a movie that maybe I can't really follow the storyline very well. Maybe it's a non-linear narrative, so it jumps all over the place and it's not really clear what's going on. Just a movie that is a little bit more, out there. Again, same with all of my other videos. Please let me know your own recommendations in the comments. Okay, let's start with the first one. Luna, I'm seeing you. Don't do that. Hello, my name is Luna. So the very first movie that I'm going to talk about is a very recent movie and it's called Midsummer. Midsummer is a horror movie and I usually don't watch horror movies because I just don't like horror movies. I will admit I am una pendeja. I just don't do well with horror. I know my mind. But I decided to watch Midsummer because it didn't look really all that scary. To me, usually what scares me is more like paranormal things. Midsummer is about a couple and their friends who travel to Sweden for this summer festival that they do in a little community there. They soon find out that it's more or less like a cult and not necessarily a fun and simple festival. The couple, Danny and Christian, are having a lot of problems, especially because of a tragedy that happened in Danny's life, and this festival was kind of a way to get her mind off of these horrible things that were happening in her life. So while they're there, a lot of really unusual things start to happen. A lot of the activities in the festival are just very questionable, and extremely disturbing. For some reason, I watched it twice in like 2 days. It's not a bad movie. Especially the second time that I watched it, I was able to see a lot of things that I didn't necessarily see in the first one because I was just very, With the second viewing, I could really see a lot of elements in storytelling that Ari Aster used within production design, and I really appreciated that. I will say that it looks beautiful. The festival itself in Sweden, it was just like a really idyllic location. It looked very calming, even though, it was the total opposite. But the reason that I'm including it in the weird list is because it was weird. I've seen a lot of people that really love Midsummer, and I can see why. I think Florence Pugh was amazing in it as well, and it's crazy to think that she went from rapping on Midsummer to the next day going on to Little Women. If you want to watch a really weird culty movie, then Midsummer is the movie for you. Okay, next I'm going to talk about The Lighthouse, which is another really recent movie from last year. The Lighthouse stars Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe, and it's about these two lighthouse keepers that are trapped in this island. They have to watch the lighthouse and watch over the island. The most important thing in this movie is definitely, to me, is the performances. I thought the performances were amazing. Since English is not my native language, I usually watch everything with subtitles. It doesn't matter what it is, I watch everything with subtitles. But this one especially, you will need the subtitles if you are not a native English speaker. Just the way that they talk, I just could not understand. Okay, so this movie, to me, it was not bad. I wouldn't say it was one of my favorites from last year. It almost felt like it was just a hallucination or like this weird dream. It's like really nothing happened. It was just these two men basically losing their minds in this lighthouse, fighting with each other, trying to survive with each other. A lot of people can appreciate that. Like I said, it's more like a performance piece for me. I do think it's a movie that, I can't tell you that you're gonna like it or you're gonna dislike it. I feel like it's very subjective. Every movie is subjective, but I feel like with this one, it's just so strange and unique that I feel like you have to see it for yourself. Okay, next is a movie called Mulholland Drive and is directed by David Lynch. In this movie, a woman is in a car accident and she gets amnesia. She meets this other woman and she is willing to help her out. This movie kind of feels like a really strange dream. It's like you don't even know what's real and what is a dream. It feels just very surreal. A lot of things are happening, but at the same time nothing is, and you don't really know what's going on. It's basically a puzzle that doesn't get resolved. a puzzle that you can't really put together. It is considered a very important cinematic piece of art in film history, so I suggest that you watch it if you can maybe put some of those puzzle pieces together. Okay, the next movie I'm gonna talk about is Swiss Army Man. This movie stars Daniel Radcliffe and Paul Dano, and it's about a guy who is in this deserted island and he finds a corpse on the beach. He soon finds out that this corpse can do anything that he wants, much like a Swiss Army knife. Just the idea of this movie sounds so weird. A corpse that you can use as, you know, tools or whatever the heck you want. This movie was just so whimsical, so much fun, but at the same time it had so much heart. Honestly, just the thought of it is kind of hilarious, even though it is strange. It's just a great adventure that honestly had never really been told before. So although this movie seems like it's really weird, I mean, it is really weird, it's still a really great movie. Okay, the next movie that I'm gonna talk about is Mother. I feel like I've already talked about this movie a couple times on my channel. I made a review for it, actually, and then I included it in another video. Basically, this movie was directed by Darren Aronofsky and it stars Jennifer Lawrence and Javier Bardem. In this movie, a couple's relationship is suffering when a bunch of uninvited guests arrive into their house. It's just a huge metaphor for a bunch of biblical things. At first, when I watched it, I honestly didn't really get everything at first. I didn't really get who all of the characters were supposed to be. Even if you do get all of the biblical messages in the movie, it's still really, really weird. And I don't know what Darren Aronofsky was thinking when he made this movie. I'm not saying that it's a bad movie. It was really weird. Hola. Okay. Still, if you want to watch a movie that is full of metaphors and it's this kind of psychological experience, then I recommend Mother. Okay, the next movie I'm going to talk about is called Donnie Darko, and this movie, I was obsessed with it when I was like 17. I don't know why, but I just really liked it for some reason. It was just so weird. This movie stars Jake Gyllenhaal and is about Gyllenhaal or Gyllenhaal, I don't know, GIF or GIF. But it's about this high school student who is kind of misunderstood. He really likes to go against the authorities, he really likes to go against the teachers and everyone who is in a position of power. One day he starts seeing this huge human-sized rabbit named Frank, and he starts telling Donnie that the world is going to end soon. I feel like I never really understood exactly what the movie was about. I feel like to this day, it was just kind of a strange, nightmarish, kind of really dark movie. It's pretty mysterious. It's not scary at all, but it has this really darkness to it, I feel. Moon. Ay, Dios mío, esta gata. Okay, the last movie that I'm gonna talk about is an anime movie called Paprika, and it's directed by Satoshi Kon. I just recently watched this. If you follow me on Instagram, I posted a story of me watching this movie. I am a huge fan of Perfect Blue, also directed by Satoshi Kon, and ever since I saw Perfect Blue, I've been meaning to watch Paprika. Okay, so just a side note, because I really want to talk about Perfect Blue very briefly. Perfect Blue is a movie that completely blew me away. I feel like it became one of my favorites really quick because I just couldn't stop thinking about that movie. Ever since I watched it, I watched so many video essays and things that have been written about that movie because it's just so incredible. If you want to watch a really great anime movie, watch Perfect Blue. It's a little bit disturbing. It's not really, you know, happy like the usual Studio Ghibli movies that I talk about in my channel, but it's just a really great movie. Paprika is from the same director. This movie is basically the original Inception. Inception was actually inspired by this movie. They took a lot of inspiration from Paprika. It's about this group of scientists that work with this machine called the DC Mini, and this machine can enter the patient's mind while they're dreaming. The machine gets into the wrong hands and the patient's minds are at risk, so they try to get it back. When they try to get it back, of course, we see the characters jumping from dreams to different scenarios. But what I really like about this movie is just it's so colorful, it's so lively. You have to be paying a lot of attention if you want to watch this movie, especially because it's in Japanese and you have to read the subtitles. But not only that, like I said, they are jumping from dream to dream, they are going from here to there really quickly, and so you have to really pay attention to know what's going on. I feel like this movie is very psychological, but not in a straightforward kind of way. I don't think it's necessarily scary. I feel like dreams walk a really fine line sometimes from being a nightmare, and I feel like this is where this movie is at. I truly enjoyed this movie, and if you decide to watch it and you like it, please also check out Perfect Blue by Satoshi Kon. Okay, so we have reached the end here. Please let me know what movies are, in your opinion, super weird and strange that not only me but everybody else in the comments should check out. And also let me know if you agree with me, if you think these movies are weird or not, if you've seen them, what you thought of them. Other than that, thank you so much for watching and for liking and just, you know, leaving me comments. I've been getting a lot of support lately from my last videos, and I'm really happy. I love talking about movies, as you guys can see, and I love that you guys also love movies and we can, you know, talk about them in the comments, and I feel really happy just talking about movies. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you so much, and I hope you guys are staying safe, watching a lot of movies, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.